On the day of getting the marriage certificate, my boyfriend showed his ugly face. We went to KFC and I ordered a beef burger. My boyfriend said I was wasting money. I bought cat food for my cat, and he said what would a beast eat? I drank milk tea and did manicures. He said we had already got the marriage certificate and there was no need to do all these fancy things. I slapped him and said, "What's wrong with me spending my own money?" Lu Jianren ignored the looks of the people around him and kept scolding me. "You drink milk tea, do manicures, and buy cat food for your cat at 60 yuan a pound. I couldn't control you before we were married, but today we got the marriage certificate and what you spend is our common property." Lu Jianren sat in front of me, wearing gold-rimmed glasses and a dark suit, still with a slow and measured look. He looked reasonable, but every word he said was beyond my expectation. "Didn't you just buy a bag of cat food for your cat that cost hundreds of yuan? It's just an animal, why feed it such expensive food? In the future, you will have children and take care of the elderly, which will cost more than a cat. I think you should throw it away as soon as possible." When we first started dating, Lu Jianren looked at my cat son's soft and clean fur, and commented that raising a cat is as difficult as raising a child. He even praised me and said that he had never seen a girl who is as good at raising a cat as I am. Now that I think about it, he was not talking about raising a cat at all, but looking for a virtuous wife who can raise a child. I stared at him in silence and my back felt cold. But he thought I was convinced and became even more arrogant. "My mother is coming this afternoon, look at our new house, you go prepare some of his favorite dishes, and then take him to the mall to buy some clothes." I sneered and asked him, "How can spending money on your mother not be wasted?" The look in his eyes instantly turned into a knife when he looked at me and gave you face. "Is it my mother who raised us brothers alone? It is not easy for her. Do you know, by the way, I have to inform you of one more thing. I am going to sell your BMW. I was speechless. "Why are you selling my car?" Lu Jianren said shamelessly. "Now that we are married, you have to learn how to live. The two of us can use one car. Saving expenses will give us more places to spend money in the future." I was immediately furious. Looking at the certificate I just got with him, I instantly realized that I was deceived by his previous gentle personality. "Don't think you can do whatever you want after getting the marriage certificate. If you make me angry, I can replace you." I stopped talking to him all the way and went straight back to the bridal room to pack my things. As a result, as soon as I opened the door, several children I didn't know at all rushed out. Their messy hair was mixed with greasy sweat, and their sandals were full of mud. They rolled and trampled all over my new floor and white sofa, making my newly renovated new house a mess. I was dumbfounded. Several children shouted and snatched the bag from my hand. I screamed and shouted, "Don't touch my bag." But it was too late. The car keys, ID and mobile phone in the bag were all turned out by them. In the blink of an eye, they, my husband, even the household registration booklet I used to get the certificate in the morning was stepped on by them. Seeing their footprints all over my dad's name, I finally went crazy. I flew over in a few steps, grabbed the one who looked most like a monkey and slapped him a few times. The child seemed to have not expected me to make a move and was stunned. During the whole process, Lu Jianren watched these children from beginning to end. He didn't say anything when he stole my bag, and he didn't say anything when he smashed things in the house. Now that I took action, he pretended to be a good guy. "The nephews are here, it's fine if you don't give them red envelopes, but why do you hit them?" Maybe it was Lu Jianren's tone that made these monkey-like children think that his words carried more weight than mine. All the children surrounded me and punched and kicked me and even shouted. I turned around and went into the bathroom to take a shit. A few minutes later, I held up the toilet brush covered with a thick layer of shit and rushed towards them fearlessly. I heard the heart-wrenching screams of these naughty kids and saw Lu Jianren's astonishment and speechlessness. Only then did I feel a little better, until I heard the naughty kids begging for mercy, which became louder and louder. Lu Jianren finally couldn't bear it anymore. "Shao Qiai," Lu Jianren yelled at me. "You are fucking crazy, right?" I looked at him innocently. "Don't you know?" His face was livid, but I couldn't help laughing. "If you are afraid that I will go crazy, don't do these inhuman things." Just as I said this, the door there was a sound of the lock turning. I turned my head and saw my cat son being hung upside down by an old woman, with wounds all over his body and crying more and more miserably. I have raised him for 8 years, and I am usually very careful even when cutting his nails, let alone beating him. But now, he was being beaten with a clothes hanger by the old woman who was full of foul language. Several teeth in his mouth were knocked out, and the ground was covered with blood from his struggle. Witnessing the whole process, all the blood in my body rushed into my brain in an instant, and then the old woman in front of me turned into a tentacle monster, and he roared at me provocatively. "Come on, kill me if you have the guts." I rushed over with boiling blood and pinched the tentacle monster, but the next second the tentacle monster turned into my mother-in-law again. Lu Jianren, unbelievable, it was like looking at a madman. "Shao Qiai, do you want to strangle me to death for a beast?" What nonsense, I clearly strangled the tentacle monster just now. As soon as I loosened my hand, mother-in-law wailed. I was already old, and I took a 2-day train ride to my son's house. It's okay without a sip of hot tea, but pity me, an old woman. Because of the lesson, a cat was almost strangled to death by a wicked daughter-in-law like you. Mother-in-law stood behind Lu Jianren, pointing at me fiercely and saying, "If I don't throw him away tonight, you and him will get out of here." I looked at my poor cat son. His hind legs were crippled by my mother-in-law, and his teeth were broken. At this moment, no matter how thick his fur was, it still couldn't cover the blood and wounds on his body. When I was about to collapse emotionally, a cat that had been sleeping for more than a year started wailing. The voice of the past woke up in my mind. I had no choice but to lift the tripod to the king of Qin Wu. "You step down and I will come." Before I could react, the control of my body was taken away by this voice. The next second, I was like an unstoppable mad bull. I kicked away a few naughty children who tried to stop me, pushed Lu Jianren away, and persisted in holding the kitchen knife. I chased my mother-in-law from the kitchen to the balcony. My mother-in-law was scared to death. She took her grandchildren to hide here and there like an eagle catching chickens. The Fujianese changed their attitude for the first time. They comforted me in a panic and returned the screaming cat on the ground to me. What happened to me? I dropped the knife in panic, picked up my cat son and dealt with him. Wound at this moment my voice is soft and my behavior is quiet. In an instant, I have become a completely different person from the evil woman who had just chased my mother-in-law with a knife. But my mother-in-law was already scared after experiencing this life and death race. She leaned on her son and cried loudly. Several naughty children came over and imitated my mother-in-law, hugged Lu Jianren's legs and scolded me, wanting to say, "How could you marry such a tigress?" Grandma also said to take us to enjoy the blessing of the new daughter-in-law. "Woo, uncle, you don't even take care of your wife." Lu Jianren became proud all of a sudden. Okay, uncle will make the decision for you. Stop crying. He took the naughty children to visit my new house. Come on, nephew, this study is for your mother. You take your eldest niece to sleep in the lovely room, and there is a second nephew. You and I sleep in the second bedroom. Wow, uncle, the bed is so soft and the room is so beautiful. We want to play here all the time. Lu Jianren is full of doting. You can stay as long as you want. Before marriage, Lu Jianren always said that I was weak and was afraid that I would be bullied. Now it seems that he thinks that I am soft-tempered, and that I will be bullied by his family after marrying me. It was obviously my parents who paid for the wedding house, but he made the decision on his own and allocated rooms to several nephews and nieces. Everyone was taken care of by him, except me and my cat, who had nowhere to live. I was about to get angry, but my mother-in-law came to seek revenge on me first. He sat on the sofa in my house holding a bigger frame than the Empress Dowager Cixi, staring down at me. "Who do you think you are? If my son hadn't fallen in love with you, I wouldn't want a woman like you even if you were given to me for free. It's a pity that I came all the way here, but I can't even have a hot meal from my new wife. How did your parents teach you? You don't know any rules about getting married." Looking at his mouth, several voices suddenly competed with each other in my mind. "I am a strong man who can lift a tripod, the King Wu of Qin. Why did you ask me to smash his old ruffian? Brother Dolly, if I had known you wanted to show off, I wouldn't have come if I didn't have a sister. Where did these evil spirits come from? Let me, old son, meet them." Before I could stop them, the right to use their body was taken away by someone. With a click, I picked up the broomstick next to me and moved as smoothly as a monkey. The next second, my golden hoop broom that fell from the sky went straight to my mother-in-law's vital point. Lu Jianren rushed over to block his mother and said, "Little cutie, what are you crazy about?" However, he still couldn't escape the fate of being hit by the broom. With a scream, Lu Jianren's face instantly turned the color of liver from the pain. The mother-in-law, who was eager to protect her son, was completely infuriated by my monkey stick skills. She rushed to the gate, opened the door and yelled towards the corridor. The building in my community is very big, with 2 elevators and 3 households. It happened to be the time for the handover. Some of the neighbors opposite are busy decorating, and some are busy looking at houses. It was already lively, and now with the drama performed by my mother-in-law, it is even more lively. My mother-in-law collapsed in the corridor, crying loudly, "Everyone come quickly. Please be fair." I raised my son with great difficulty and finally found him a wife, but my wife is a snob and looks down on an old woman from the countryside like me. As soon as she came back, she threw food at my grandchildren and wanted to strangle me to death. Is she still a human being? Seeing the old man crying, the neighbors were all scolding me. The little girl looked quiet and gentle. How could she do such a wicked thing? Even if she dared to hit the old man now, she might kill someone in the future. It's terrible. How could we have an evil spirit like you? In the blink of an eye, they all turned into noisy fish jumping on the chopping board. Before I got married, my mother told me to be calm in everything, not impulsive and not to hurt others, but if I just used boiling water to scald a few fish it would be fine. But when I turned around to pick up the kettle, I don't know who took away the right to use my body again, and this time I turned into a jade-like, tearful Lin Dayu in the blink of an eye. I watched myself crying out the shocking injustice like Meng Jiangnu crying at the Great Wall. The wedding house was bought by my father, and the cat was raised by me since it was a child. I only hope that all the neighbors will be kind and let my cat and I not be driven to death at our doorstep by you guys before we are driven away by my mother-in-law. When my mother-in-law heard this, she got anxious. It was your cat that bit me first. Cats are not human after all, and I can't please my mother-in-law. It's okay to throw it away, but he would rather die than live. My mother-in-law's face changed drastically, and she was about to she got angry and found new fault with me again. You, as a daughter-in-law, have to take care of your nephew like hell. You are so tired. I heard myself crying and felt even more wronged. It was hard for my mother-in-law to take the trouble to invite 4 or 5 grandchildren to live with me, so that I could serve the whole family. How could I be so tired? Dear neighbors and sisters, please teach me what to do. I don't know if my eyebrows were too wronged or my crying was too heartbreaking. Finally, a girl of my age felt the same way. Oh my God, it turned out that the mother-in-law was the one who turned the tables. Even the older sisters who pointed at my nose and scolded me at the beginning began to point their spearheads at me. My mother-in-law told me that you are already very old, you should do more good deeds. You live in the house bought by your daughter-in-law, and now your daughter-in-law's cat is biting you back. You want us to be the bad guys and help you drive your daughter-in-law away. Someone nearby looked at me with sympathy. The girl has never eaten a single bite of food in your house. On what basis do you think you can do that? Lu Jianren saw that the situation was gone, so he had to bite the bullet and drag me, growling at me. Shut up, you have to embarrass yourself here. My mouth has long been out of my control. Lu Jianren, you have deceived me. If you don't make the decision for me, you might as well just ignore it. It makes me seem unreasonable. You, Lu Jianren, choked in your throat and your face turned blue. He knew I would go crazy, but he didn't know I would be so reasonable when I went crazy. Before getting the certificate, he came to my house to meet my parents. My parents saw that he was a handsome man and spoke gently, and felt that they couldn't harm him. Bitch, uncle and aunt don't want to hide it from you. Our daughter actually has some mental problems. You can't do anything about this marriage. How about you reconsider it? Although they were talking with their backs to me, I could see everything clearly from where I was standing. Lu Jianren's first reaction was a bit angry. He thought that my parents looked down on him for not having a house and a car, and deliberately said that I was mentally ill. My father really took out my medical records at the 7th Mental Hospital of S-City. Lu Jianren saw it with his own eyes. It clearly stated that the patient was diagnosed with multiple personality and delusional disorder. He was stunned for a moment. My father explained that my daughter was bullied by classmates when she was a child and she suffered a great shock. However, our family does not have this gene, so my daughter has not had an attack for more than 10 years since she left that school. Lu Jianren burst into tears when he heard it, and he couldn't say a word for a long time, just kept crying. My father and I thought he was worried about me at the time, but now that I think about it, it turns out that he was scared. My father is super. I was extremely moved and immediately took out the house deed. I've also heard about your family's conditions. He is our only child anyway, so we'll pay for the wedding house and car. You just need to be nice to him, that's all. Lu Jianren took the house deed, which cost 35,000 yuan per square meter, wiped away his tears and said, "Thank you, Dad." He said thank you, Dad, just a few days ago, but at this moment I saw the word regret on Lu Jianren's face. Lu Jianren fled in panic amid the accusations of his neighbors. Before closing the door, my mother-in-law even spat at the neighbors in exasperation. "Pa, you're all blind." With a bang, she locked me outside and hid back in the house. I tried to take back the initiative of my body, but Lin Dayu's voice rang in my mind. My efforts were in vain. Do you despise your sister for helping you? Or do you really think your mother-in-law is a good person? Why don't you change the password of the lock quickly? I shuddered all over, and then I was able to move freely. I opened the mobile phone app and changed the fingerprint lock and password in a few minutes. This time, even Lu Jianren's fingerprint was deleted by me. Lin Dayu, who choked people with her words, King Qinwu, who died suddenly after lifting the tripod, and Monkey King, who made a fuss in the Heavenly Palace, they have not appeared in my body for more than 10 years. I didn't expect that my mental illness would be triggered only one day after I got the marriage certificate. I have to get a divorce, and it must be divorced immediately. After I changed the fingerprint password, I rushed back to the new house in a rage, and immediately found Lu Jianren, who was in my bedroom and rummaging through my cabinets. "Take your mother and your nephews and get out of here quickly." Lu Jianren, who was rummaging through my things, was shocked all over. "What did you say?" I said divorce, and Lu Jianren immediately looked at me as if I was a fool. "How dare you, a mentally ill person, divorce me?" I raised my head and said, "Divorce, we must divorce." Lu Jianren pointed to the 130 square meter house in the drawer. I was originally discouraged and exploded. "Your father had asked me to marry you. You gave me a house as a dowry. Think about it yourself, you are mentally ill. If you get divorced again, who will want you in the future?" My heart skipped a beat because my mouth was out of control again, but this time it was not Lin Dayu, not the peerless King Qinwu, and not Sun Wukong, but your majesty. There are 3,000 beauties in the harem. Why do I only have one Princess Shanin, who is my son-in-law? Princess Shanin has been blessed with countless blessings in her life. Even if it is a beautiful man, you will soon be boring, not to mention the ugly Lu Jianren. I only heard a rebellious voice like Yuchu and Tianxia coming out of my mouth, This princess wants to see whether you are the most beautiful man in the world or the most talented man in the world. With your skinny little body, this princess can easily find a gatekeeper who is better than you. Wait, something is wrong. How come there is a Princess Shawneen who I have never seen in my personality? Seems my condition has worsened. In just one day, all the personalities woke up in my body. They quarreled and argued with each other. And everyone wanted to take away the right to use my body and do justice for me. For a while I had a splitting headache, my eyes went black, and finally I fainted. When I woke up again, it was the next morning. The smell of hospital disinfectant came into my nose. As soon as I woke up, a spring breeze and magnetic voice rang in my ears. Miss Zhao, how do you feel? I blinked, but was frightened by the bright white coat in front of me and shrank into a ball. More than 10 years ago, I was in adolescence because of my prematurely developed chest, which made the loose school uniform particularly bulging and conspicuous. At first, I was just teased by a few boys with bad intentions. Later, the spark began to spread. I was often blocked in the toilet, and the gangsters surrounded me in a black mass, staring at my chest. I heard that your breasts are your own, please teach us, what techniques do you use? They all say you are a bus driver. By the way, I heard that your parents are on a business trip, and several men sleep with you at night. Wow, look at his breasts, 1 or 2 are not enough, look why he is still angry. I was ashamed and angry, so the first personality of the emotional dance king in my body appeared. When the first attack occurred, I was completely unconscious. A few minutes later, I was surprised to see the hooligans wailing and rolling on the ground. The hooligans covered their stomachs, groaning and lying on the ground. One of them even had his teeth all over the ground, crying and shouting for his mother. Later I heard from others that on that day I suddenly became as strong as an ox, lifted one of the hooligans with my bare hands, carried him over my shoulder and threw him on the face of another hooligan. From that day on, I became famous in our school. I got a new nickname, King Kong Barbie. From then on, the increasingly absurd pornographic rumors and the incidents of me beating people with my bare hands continued to ferment. I was completely isolated. I was obviously the victim, but I couldn't defend myself. In the end, even the teacher told my parents that I was a lunatic with bad behavior, and suggested that I transfer to another school immediately so as not to affect the good students in his class. My parents knew that I was not that kind of person. They had a big quarrel with the school and finally helped me to withdraw from school, and took me back to the city where they worked. In the new city, I received a year-long treatment, and because of this I learned about the other personalities hidden in my body. In order to kill these personalities, the white coats tied my hands and feet and tried various electrotherapy. Sometimes when I went crazy they would feed me small pills and plant small pills. After taking them, I would get a moment of peace and even feel that the world has never been so beautiful. But when the effect of the medicine wore off, the side effects made me vomit and faint, even worse than before I took the medicine. In order to be discharged early, I discussed with the personalities, you all hide so that next time someone bullies me, you can come to save me again, but if you don't hide, you will die in the hospital. So after I was discharged, my parents took extra care of me because they felt they owed me. I made good friends in the new school and experienced respect and equality. For the next 10 years, they really never showed up again. Miss Xiao, did you know that there are 4 or 5 personalities in your body? Last night, your main personality fainted, and the remaining personalities were all out of control and almost caused a death. Life, I sat up from the bed. Did I kill someone? Am I going to jail? The young and handsome man in a white coat approached me, but the familiar smell of medicine on him made me tremble uncontrollably. The kind of the fear in my heart instantly brought back the memory of my life worse than death, when I was treated in the mental hospital. The young man in the white coat smiled at me and said, "Anyway, it's okay now. Don't be afraid." I stared into his eyes and was instantly attracted by his reassuring temperament. At that moment, the Shawneen princess in my body suddenly woke up. He giggled in my mind and said, "Come on, a beautiful woman's smile will bring out all the charms. This princess will definitely help you win this most beautiful man in the world." My heart skipped a beat. Sure enough, the next second I couldn't control myself and pounced on the doctor and kissed him. The white coat didn't dodge, so I smacked him and said coquettishly on his face, "This princess has taken a fancy to you. There's no need to choose a day, just do it here." I was so decadent that I didn't dare to look at what the white coat's face would be like now. At the critical moment, the Lin Dayu in my body squeezed out the Shawneen princess and kissed him. What about my brother Baoyu? At this moment, with a creak, the door of the ward was pushed open, followed by a burst of extremely harsh abuse, sweeping towards me. Oh look, a lunatic who cheated in marriage and almost beat me and my son to death. Is there anyone to manage this? Is there any place for reason in this world? I looked at my mother-in-law in amazement. She brought Lu Jianren and his 4 or 5 grandsons, making a scene all the way and playing tricks on him to the point that even the security guards couldn't do anything about him. The nurse rushed in to stop my mother-in-law, saying, "This is a ward, you can't make loud noises." But I didn't expect that my mother-in-law got the ability from somewhere, and a large group of media reporters followed her. Under the media's lens, the hospital didn't dare to make any big moves, but my mother-in-law became even more fearless. "You should quickly interview this female liar. She is a lunatic who cheated in marriage and killed people." Look, she even didn't let go of my 7 or 8-year-old grandson. There were bruises all over from being beaten with a stick by her. And my son, who was young, good-looking and well-educated, was deceived into marriage by him. The rest of his life is ruined. He rushed towards me viciously. I am now bringing media reporters to see how you and your parents are going to compensate us. I secretly glanced at the white coat next to me. He had just been kissed madly by me, and we were still in a seemingly intimate hugging position. What's more, it was exposed to the media cameras. My mother-in-law's eyes lit up and she immediately found a new handle. She rushed up in a few steps, but Lu Jianren on the side suddenly had red eyes and looked at us like crazy. You are so cute because he wants to divorce me. Lu Jianren's emotions have never been so broken as today. If I marry you, I will never be separated from you. Come home with me and we won't get divorced. Blame Lu Jianren. The drama even made his mother dumbfounded. My mother-in-law used all her strength poking Lu Jianren with his elbow, whispering in his ear, "You're right to listen to your mother. He's a domestic abuser and a lunatic. Let the media force him to divorce and pay compensation, make him lose his reputation, and then take away his house, and you can marry a better one in the future." The young doctor who was originally in my arms stood up calmly, cleared his throat, regained his cold face, and looked at Lu Jianren seriously. The patient has multiple personalities in his body. I am his attending physician and have the right to take care of and maintain his emotions. So please don't make loud noises or get out. Lu Jianren was completely crazy this time. He grabbed the doctor's collar and said, "My wife is not sick. I'm here to take her home." The media's microphone was directed towards Lu Jianren. "Sir, your mother said that you were deceived into marrying a lunatic. Is this your own will? We are in the civil mediation column, and can also help you request legal aid." Then all the microphones turning to me again. "Madam, do you know that mentally ill patients need to tell their spouses the truth when they get married? May I ask if you had any subjective consciousness when you were committing violence?" There were many shadows swaying in front of my eyes, and it seemed that countless monsters were roaring in my ears. I just felt that my head was about to fall apart, but they still didn't plan to let me go until a firm and loud voice sounded beside me. "My patients need quiet. If anyone dares to ask another question, I will call the police for disturbing public order." The ward was quiet in an instant. Outside the door I heard Lu Jianren dismiss the media, and even for the first time in history, I heard him roar at his mother. "Who told you to make the decision on your own? Don't worry about my affairs in the future." His mother cried out in grievance, "You are a heartless person. Your father died early, and your mother worked hard for you. It was not easy to support you, but you married a wife and forgot your mother. I'm doing all this for your own good. I have a splitting headache, but I can't remember what happened last night that could have caused Lu Jianren to change his temperament so drastically." He even laughed out loud in a very sad voice for my own good. "Then you knew he was a lunatic but still asked me to marry him. Wasn't it because his parents gave you a house and a car? Now I'm really in love with him, and you said he wasn't obedient enough, didn't want to serve you and help you raise your grandchildren, and asked me to divorce you. You deliberately provoked him and drove him crazy last night. Wasn't it just to perform this act today? In the final analysis, you are partial to my younger brothers and want me to contribute money and effort, and you also want my wife to help them raise their children." Lu Jianren swore to treat me well in the future, but I ignored him, so he sent my cat son to the pet hospital and took a photo and sent it to me on WeChat. It's cute that what I said before was not human language. He is your cat but also our family. Then he paid 3,000 yuan for the treatment bill, and perfunctorily spent money on his family. I didn't feel bad. I was once moved by his gentleness. I once loved him so much. I once thought that marriage was the continuation of love, and I also wanted to support each other and grow old with him, but now it seems that everything he did was full of showmanship. Even now when he spends money on my cat, it's just a slap and a candy. No matter how much Lu Jianren cried in front of me, I was determined to divorce him. After Lu Jianren left, the young man in a white coat came to see me again. The look in his eyes always showed a certain firm but inexplicably familiar power. Then his voice, like the spring breeze, whispered in my ear, "According to my observation, your personality exists to protect you. You claim to be the ultimate love dance king, but in fact when you are in danger, your subconscious mind makes your adrenaline burst. For example, there was a mother who tried to save her daughter who was crushed under a car, lifted a 1-ton truck head. So I don't think you need to use drugs to kill them by force, coexist with them peacefully. Maybe it will cause less harm to you." His eyes sparkling when he spoke, his young and determined side glances, as if wrapped in a layer of human highlights. I have never seen such a young, handsome, and passionate doctor like him. My blood began to boil. "Thank you, then how should I treat it?" Suddenly there was a bang at the door. A tall and fat old man strode in with a hurry, rushed towards us. The old man grabbed my doctor and said angrily, "It's you who stole my white coat again, and you just talked to me clearly." The young white coat, after being forcibly stripped off by the old man, he also revealed the same blue and white hospital gown as me. Before being taken away, he also winked at me. "Have you forgotten that we are classmates? When you were a child you had Electrotherapy, and I helped you secretly unplug the plug. That playful and crazy look suddenly remembered. His name is Li Tianza Young. I saw him in person when I was young. He had won the first place in national physics competitions many times. But one day, he looked at the ceiling in the room and suddenly said that physics really did not exist. Then he committed suicide. When he was sent to me by his family as a lunatic, the electrotherapy had just ended. He was lying in the ward staring at the ceiling, and his consciousness was wandering. It was not until I had been with him for a year that I realized that geniuses and lunatics are the same. It's just that people have different definitions of them. When my parents arrived, he had already been approved for discharge. The old doctor was very kind. He actually gave the same conclusion as Li Tianza, that your personalities will not hurt you. They are heroic personalities that have evolved to protect you when you are persecuted. Under proper control, you just need to stay away from environments that make you feel depressed and angry. I was a little surprised but scared. But what if I was forced to go crazy again? Unexpectedly, the old man actually joked with me and told me to go crazy if I wanted to. It's better to go crazy than to suffocate yourself and make others happy. Okay, my parents who were standing by hugged me with a distressed look on their faces. It was my parents' fault. We were deceived by Lu Jianren. Don't worry, we don't care about other people's gossip. If you want to divorce, just divorce. My parents support you. I made an appointment with Lu Jianren to go to the Civil Affairs Bureau to divorce, but when I went back to the wedding room to get the certificate, Lu Jianren held me and refused to let me go. I thought he was going to say that I was mentally ill, and no one would want me if I left him. I didn't expect that this time he actually hugged me and cried. It's my fault. I'm already in my 30s and still being led by my mother. You see, I bought tickets for my mother. They are leaving today and will not disturb us. Just as I was speaking, his mother came out of my room with her luggage and a sullen face, followed by a bunch of grandsons and granddaughters, all of whom came to me with their heads down saying, "I'm sorry, my lovely aunt, we shouldn't have stepped on your sofa and made a mess of your room. We will never do that again. Please don't divorce our uncle. He is a good man." I was stunned. In my memory, Lu Jianren was a very self-centered person. A filial son of the family. He is the kind of good-natured man who would rather lack a bite of food himself than let his brother starve. But now he pleaded with me with an extremely hurt look, saying that he would do anything I wanted, and that we should just get a divorce, okay? Lu Jianren's repentant look almost softened my heart, but he didn't know that in order to see me at any time, I installed 360-degree surveillance at home when my cat son was decorating the new house. Just now, I saw them in the surveillance. Mother and son were of one mind, discussing crazily how to maximize their interests. I was afraid that I couldn't handle them alone, so I hid in the bathroom and called my parents to ask them to come and help me. Seeing that I didn't come out of the bathroom for a long time, Lu Jianren knocked on the door and persuaded me. "Why on earth did you divorce me? Was it because of the hamburger you ordered on the day you got the marriage certificate? I will never say anything to you again, okay? Even if you eat hamburgers that cost 80 yuan each, even if you keep cats and do manicures, or buy cat food that costs 100 yuan per pound, I won't care at all. I really regret it now. I shouldn't have listened to my mother. I will only listen to you in the future. Let's live a good life and not get divorced, okay?" Lu Jianren's tone outside the door was sincere and touching. But when I listened to the surveillance recording on my phone, I just felt torn. Lu Jianren outside the door was still coaxing me as a fool. "Don't worry, my dear, your father and I swore that you don't have to do anything in the future. Just enjoy yourself." Through the bathroom door, I turned up the surveillance recording function of them and their son on the spot. Lu Jianren's mother, "It's all your fault for finding the media to make such a big fuss. When I meet his parents, I won't be able to explain it to him. How should I know? Your name isn't even on the house. You're just stupid. Why don't you wait until your name is on the house before getting the marriage certificate with him? Anyway, things have come to this and we are definitely going to get a divorce. But you only have this house. You have to take at least half." Lu Jianren is cute and easy to coax. "Mom, you pretend to take the train later. When I coax him back, I will make him add my name on the property certificate. We will have to. If he goes crazy again, I will file for divorce in court saying that he concealed his medical history, and I can at least take half of it." They heard the recording and the surveillance clearly outside the door, and he and his mother fell silent in an instant. A few minutes later, his mother sternly said to her son, "Seal the bathroom door and say that he can't leave today. Without you, you will have nothing." But it didn't take long before my parents rushed in with the police. Under the protection of the police, I came out of the bathroom safely and saw Lu Jianren again. His face was as black as Baogong, and he even started to panic and speak without thinking. He installed surveillance in my mother's room. He violated other people's privacy, and even the police couldn't help laughing. "You also know that your mother is someone else to the landlord. The landlord's name is Shao Kia. Even if you are in a husband and wife relationship, you have no right to distribute his personal property, not to mention that you already have restrictions on private seizure. Ms. Zhao's behavior has violated the law." 3 months later, the court's verdict on Lu Jianren and his son came down. Since I was not affected if there was no substantial harm, their sentence would not be much. and they could even acquit him as long as they got my forgiveness. But if he was sentenced, Lu Jianren would never be able to pass the civil service exam in his life. It turned out that he wrote to me frantically, begging for my forgiveness, just like he had begged me not to divorce and frantically coaxed me before. I suddenly replied to him, "A person like you is not worthy of being ashore." Many years later, when I returned to my hometown, I passed by the school that had bullied me. The school was abandoned due to relocation. I saw a girl standing in front of the yellow bus stop sign at the school gate. She looked very similar to me in adolescence in terms of appearance and figure. Youth has brought her a gradually plump body, and even the smile on her face is filled with enviable innocence. She was humming a song with headphones on, and she looked beautiful and quiet. At this time, a group of boys who were laughing and scolding came from not far away. When they passed by the girl, they stared at her without any disguise, and they were reluctant to move away. The girl's originally straight spine was in their eyes. My chest hunched over instantly. At that moment I seemed to see that year again, when the boy looked at me with his vampire and dazzling eyes, and my blood began to boil again. Just when I was about to rush over to go crazy for the girl, a firm and loud voice came from behind me. "You little stinky boys, what are you staring at girls for? Look, I'm calling the police." The naughty boys scattered, and the girl straightened her spine instantly. I turned around and saw those playful and crazy eyes again in the afterglow of the sunset. "Li Tianzi." I watched him walk towards me, "And you were discharged from the hospital too." He shook his head and said, "Brother, I'm not discharged, I'm returning to secular life." I was a little stunned. "Secular? What secular life do you have to return?" He laughed heartlessly. "You ah." The remaining scorching air scalded my face red, and the same noisy cicada chirping as that year rang in my ears. I remembered everything. There was always a playful and crazy voice back then, which dispelled malice for me over and over again, but I was humble and sensitive and never dared to look up. The full text is over.